Mary had a little man.
Fourth, we believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Believe me. Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
Remember this?
Why wouldn't you want to find the right answer, Brad, instead of keep saying that the numbers are right? So look, can you get together tomorrow? And Brad, we just want the truth. It's simple. And everyone's going to look very good if the truth comes out. It's okay. It takes a little while, but let the truth come out. And the real truth is I won by 400,000 votes, at least. So what are we going to do here, folks? I only need 11,000 votes. Fellas, I need 11,000 votes. Give me a break.
Oh! Okay, so the trial over that taped, let me steal the election, why don't you just look the other way and find me 11,789 votes or whatever the number actually was. The trial for that particular crime is supposed to go on in Fulton County, Georgia, by virtue of the district attorney, Fani Willis, trying this case and 18 other defendants who tried to subvert the results of a free and fair election in her state of Georgia on August 5th of 2024. That is when that particular phone call, and remember we were all sitting there going, I don't know how he's not in jail. I mean, he recorded himself saying he wanted to steal the election. What kind of a system do we live in? How is this possible? How is this happening? I don't know. Okay. Well, now all of a sudden, one of the 18 defendants has a married couple as attorneys, husband and wife. No conflict there. They're knocking boots, but they're married, so that's allowed. Okay. So that couple represents one of the guys who was a former Koch brothers operative, seriously, that joined the Trump campaign and was part of the attempt to overturn the results of a free and fair election in the state of Georgia, which is where Donald Trump is calling in that phone call. So that particular set of attorneys decided that their client was going to allege that Fani Willis had a conflict of interest in this case that was so severe that she must be removed from the case. And in fact, the whole case needs to be thrown out. It's a RICO case, okay? This is a multifaceted RICO case. Turns out that there was a cry that was so loud, a geschrei, we call it, okay, and in Yiddish. I'll spare you because phlegm is a vowel in my language. So they said that she had a conflict that was so unbelievable. The theory of the case is this. I'll give it to you real quick, okay? The theory of the case is that she had an affair with a guy she hired to manage the case while, they were gathering all the evidence and bringing charges and writing the briefs and everything else. And the guy that she hired to manage the case, his name is Nathan Wade. And the accusation was that Nathan Wade and Fani Willis had an affair that Fani Willis used to enrich herself, creating a conflict of interest. Well, how did she create a conflict of interest by enriching herself? What did she do? What was the technique? What was the method? How was she, sucking money into her own pockets? So the theory was she hired this guy, swear to God, dragged the case out so that he and his billable hours would be so exponentially grand, so many billable hours, he could charge. He would make a freaking fortune, and they would travel the world together on that money. The whole thing is falling apart. However, the legal eagles on the corporate media side of things are saying, this is messy. This is bad. She really needs to just resign today. She needs to give this up. A friend of hers, who's no longer a friend of hers, testified today about some hearsay, about some, something that she thinks happened. The friend of hers is no longer a friend of hers. Also worked in, Fani Willis's office, and then she was fired. She wasn't clear why she was fired. She just knows she was. Do they speak to each other anymore? No, they don't speak to each other. Did you have a long friendship with her? Oh, yeah, we were friends since college, and now you don't speak to each other? No. Do you know why? Not really clear. So what are you here to testify for? Oh, I'm going to tell you that her and this guy, they started their relationship way before they swore that they started their relationship in affidavits in this case. Affidavits being legal documents. If Bonnie Willis lied under oath in an affidavit, if Nathan Wade lied under oath in a legal document, they're in deep crap. Deep crap. But there's no evidence that that is true, except for so far the testimony of a girlfriend of hers who doesn't speak to her anymore. Here, I'll play you what Robin Yurdy said, okay?
Do you know if Miss Willis and Mr. Wade started dating in October of 2019?
I don't know if it was October of 2019.
You don't know?
Could it possibly be November of 2019?
Could possibly.
Okay. And when we spoke, you said it was shortly after the municipal court conference, though, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you know that their relationship, their personal relationship, began shortly after this municipal court conference?
Yes.
And when I say personal, romantic. I just want to make sure we don't get in an argument over what personal and romantic is later. When I ask you personal, do you take that to mean romantic?
Yes.
Okay. And do you understand it that their relationship began in 2019 and continued until the last time you spoke with her?
Yes.
Okay, so that's her ex-girlfriend, okay, Miss Yurty, who testified that she knows that they have been in a romantic relationship since shortly after this convention, which actually you could look up the date, which would make it 2019. And she was there to and I mean, every one of the legal people that you really look up to on the TV. Oh, this is over. Oh, they must. She has to go. This is terrible. This is messy. This is bad. And then Mr. Wade got on the stand, and they asked Mr. Wade about the theory of the case. Mr. Wade, isn't it true that Fannie Willis was dragging out this case so that you could get many, many more billable hours because you work hourly, as most lawyers do? But she made a salary, and her salary was capped, right? It was finite. It was a thing. It was just a paycheck she got. But if she hired you could get billable hours, and she could drag out the case, and you could then enrich her because you were with her romantically. You were her boyfriend, and the two of you would make money doing this. Isn't that true, Mr. Wade?
I'm interested in the percentage of your time from November 2021 to, let's say, the close of the special purpose grand jury when it was dissolved in January 2023. Can you estimate for us the percentage of your time that was spent on Fulton County work versus other work?
Oh, gosh. 99% of the time here in this building.
Invoice number 9, Mr. Wade, indicates that you performed hours of work that you were not compensated for because your cap had been reached.
Yes, ma'am.
I want you to take and what did you do in those circumstances when the hours that you worked per month were more than the cap that was in your contract that you were permitted to be paid for?
I was forced to lose that time. I didn't get paid for it.
Okay. And that's what exhibit number 9 shows?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And in exhibit number 9, you've got a task, hours that were completed, and you just didn't bill for it. You noted the time and then a 0 beside it because you didn't bill the county for that time.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Oh, so turns out on his timesheets, which every lawyer knows causes nightmares. You didn't fill out your timesheet. It used to keep Howard up. He used to get up in the middle of the night going, I have to do the timesheets. Okay. His hours were capped under the contract that he entered into with the Fulton County prosecutor, with the Fulton County prosecutor's office, Fannie Willis's office. Hours were capped. The theory of the case, does it hold any water? Does the theory of the case hold any water? No, the defense is wrong.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
So Bonnie Willis just said, "I think you're confused. Okay, you're confused. I'm not the one on trial. They're on trial for trying to steal an election." This is really bizarre. Only in a Trump case would you have the prosecutor of people involved in a racketeering, influence, corrupt organization case be put on the stand to testify about sex, about having a sexual relationship with a guy named Mr. Wade. I mean, honestly, this is so incredibly rich. It is so strange. It is so weird. I can't even, and the people who are falling for this, like there's some conflict in it. What would the conflict be, number one? Number two, aren't you falling for the same Peter Strzok and Lisa Page thing? Aren't you falling for the lovers yet again? Aren't you falling for that, fake affair thing that you, always think is the reason why Trump's innocent? Because somebody else is having a good time? Greg in North Carolina.
Yeah. Hey, Randy, hope you're doing well. Who said in 2020 when she was running against Paul Howard Jr. for the DA of Fulton County, the people of Fulton County deserve better, and they shouldn't have someone that has sex with his employees and won't put money in their own pocket? Who said that?
She did.
She did.
And then she fell in
But then
love.
she turned around and did the same thing, didn't she?
Well, she's not having casual affairs. She's with this one guy for,
Oh, no, she didn't say casual. She said they deserve a DA that won't have sex with his employees and won't put money in their pocket.
Right, she did.
What's that mean, Randy?
I don't know. Ask her.
And it's so bad that even Chuck Rosenberg on MSNBC
I saw that.
said
That's
that
what I'm
this
saying.
is getting ugly and getting
saw that.
worse.
I saw that, and that's exactly what I was referencing. Even the legal minds that you would look up to are saying, "Oh, it's getting messy. Oh, she has to go." Really, what is the conflict, Greg? What exactly is it that means she has to go? What is it?
Well, here's what the conflict. She's sleeping with the guy prosecuting.
So what?
The
lawyers that are questioning her, they sleep with each other.
Randy?
They sleep with each other too,
Answer me a question. Why did
you
Wade
hear what
go
I
to the
said?
White House?
Did you hear what I said?
Who's sleeping with each other?
Mr. Roman's attorneys are sleeping with each other.
Oh, how do you know that?
Because they're married.
Well, then that's husband and wife.
And what is it? So there's no conflict. They both sleep together. They have pillow talk at night. They, about the case. And there's a conflict. There's no conflict there. But Bonnie Willis and Nathan Wade, who have been on vacation with his mother, there's some sort of a conflict there.
Can I say something, Randy? You need
not
to apply
really.
to work for Cirque du Soleil.
I really think.
Because the way you're
please,
yourself,
you know every position in the Kama Sutra. That's how you twist yourself around. So
Randy,
tell
why are you
me,
saying that?
just
I didn't
because
bring
you
that up.
can't
I'm just
tell
saying.
me. You just said I belong
Randy?
in Cirque du Soleil. You lying sack of crap. But listen, I asked you point blank, what is the conflict? What is the conflict? And see, if you wouldn't talk over me and you actually engaged in a conversation, I asked you a question, I paused. You don't know the answer. I asked you, what is the conflict? You don't know because there isn't one. And you don't know that the other attorneys are married too, that the other attorneys are a husband and a wife, that the other attorneys for Mr. Roman, who dare to question her about her sexual behavior, will never be questioned about their sexual behavior. And what about their client? Their client works for the Koch brothers? Really? Somebody has a conflict. It ain't Fannie Willis. And when I ask you what the conflict is, you can't tell me. Is this you again?
Hello?
Is this you? Is this Greg again or no?
This is me, Randy. I hope you're
That's
doing
what I
well.
thought. Yeah,
Why did
because
you hang up on me?
No, because you are a chronic. See, I knew it was you because now what you do after you can't answer any of my questions, I ask you, what's the conflict?
I said because they're having sexual relationships and they're not married, and that's inappropriate.
What is the
when you have this high class? When you're on this case,
you can't make a lawyer resign from a case because you think they're being inappropriate. That is not a reason, for dismissal.
When you're in this level of case, you do not do anything that looks like appearance.
The law,
again,
I'm going to hang up on you again because you won't stop talking. In Georgia, the law requires an actual conflict of interest, not an appearance of a conflict of interest, not you don't approve of those two dating each other. No, it requires an actual conflict. And the theory of the case was, the conflict, which you don't know because they failed to prove it. The conflict was that she had hired Mr. Wade, her lover, to get billable hours out of Fulton County and thereby pad their fortune through him. That's the conflict. And you know when they failed to prove it? They failed to prove it when he testified that the invoice showed his billable hours were capped. Case dismissed. Now, you might have some sort of a standard in your freaking brain that tells you that she's not allowed to have a private life while she's a district attorney prosecuting Donald Trump for election fraud. That might, be something you have in your feeble little brain, but it's not the law. It is not a reason to dismiss a case. It is not a reason to dismiss a district attorney. It's not a reason to say there's a conflict. There is no conflict. The conflict that they went in there to try to prove was that she had a scheme. She had a grift. And the grift was she was going to hire him. He was going to bill Fulton County for billable hours out the yin-yang. She would drag the case out, and they would make a fortune. But it didn't work out for the it's the defense. It didn't work out for the defense attorneys, did it? No, it didn't.
Invoice number 9, Mr. Wade, indicates that you performed hours of work that you were not compensated for because your cap had been reached.
Yes, ma'am.
I want you to take up, and what did you do in those circumstances? When the hours that you worked per month were more than the cap that was in your contract that you were permitted to be paid for?
I was forced to lose that time. I didn't get paid for it.
Okay. And that's what exhibit number 9 shows?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And in exhibit number 9, you've got a task, hours that were completed, and you just didn't bill for it. You noted the time and then a 0 beside it because you didn't bill the county for that time.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. What about exhibit number, invoice number 13?
Yeah, what about 13? What about that one?
I have it.
Is that a similar situation?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
And what is it on invoice number 13?
This invoice makes me cry. There's so many hours here that I worked that I couldn't get paid for. So.
And you worked those hours anyway, Mr. Wade?
Oh, absolutely. This is not the type of job that you could walk away from just because you're not getting paid for it. I think there's some professional rules of responsibility to an attorney who's engaged in a case. You have to see it through. So it's not like I could just throw my hands up and say, well, I reached my monthly cap. I'm done. I can walk away. I can't do that.
Oh, but Greg thinks you're an unethical bastard. He needs you to remove yourself from this case. He needs Fannie to remove herself from this case because he's decided that the appearance to him is untoward. It's tawdry. It's just a little skanky. And he doesn't like it. And therefore, the new law that you should live by is his, not the law that's on the books that said it has to be an actual conflict. And the actual conflict was debunked right there in that little bit of testimony. In 1 minute and 33 seconds, it was over. Why? Because there's actual invoices, not hearsay. It's not gossip from an ex-friend, okay? This is an invoice, meaning this is what lawyers turn in every month, billable hours. It's an invoice so that they can get paid by their client. He has a contract with Fulton County. First of all, she's not his employer. He's a contract worker. He is a special prosecutor. And he has billable hours on an invoice that clearly show that he put in more hours than he would ever be able to get paid for. Why? Because they were capped. The amount of hours he could bill for were capped. And the integrity of him was, well, you can't just walk away. You have to keep going. You have to keep working. So MAGA, when they see somebody with integrity, when they see somebody with character, when they see somebody take their mother on vacation, when they see somebody split evenly the cost of vacationing together, somehow that's, bizarre, suspicious, untoward, tawdry, kinky, skanky, ugly, conflict. Greg, you're a chronic, okay? Why don't you just cope and deal with it and go to BetterHelp.com and get some advice. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to RandiRhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.